Good evening and welcome. Tonight's stream is the regular Automobilista Wednesday event. Formula 3 from Montreal, a nice combination of car and track for your enjoyment tonight. So, I do hope you are going to enjoy it. The qualifying session has just started, just a 15-minute qualifying session, and that is so we can accommodate a slightly longer race of 45 minutes. We've got standard fuel usage, but with the 45-minute race, everybody is going to have to make a pit stop. Now, with just a 15-minute qualifying session, I really should go quiet, and we'll advance on and let you guys watch the qualifying get underway. Hello TeamSpeak, we are live to the millions, to the masses, 9 million people watching at the moment. Can we say hello to the stream, please?
Hello. Hello.
Thank you very much. Now there might be a few people, I should have mentioned this earlier, there might be a few new faces on the server tonight. Myself and Joseph Wright will be your commentators for your enjoyment. Obviously, that can be a little bit of a distraction for some, so feel free to mute either both of us, or one of us if you prefer one over the other. I'm sure it'll be me that you'll be muting and leaving Joseph on. But yeah, you can mute us and then we won't offer you any distraction. Joseph, Are you there, sir? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, pretty good. I haven't really paid any attention to the practice session, so I don't know if you managed to pick up on the sort of lap times and stuff that people are putting in. What have you managed to information have you managed to gather from the practice session?
I have been able to gather that this is quite a difficult track for quite a number of drivers.
Let you through.
Yeah, it's quite difficult for a number of drivers to be able to get around. I myself put in a few lap times earlier. It's quite hard to get a perfect lap time in, but out of everyone in the server tonight, I think Dennis Lind, Craig Patterson, two to really focus on out of everyone.
Indeed. And if we're going to talk about people to watch out for, of course, it would be amiss of me if I didn't mention Tuomas, my favourite, Tuomas Lankinen. He always keeps it exciting for us. Tuomas Lankinen will watch out for his qualifying time. I see if I can remember. Did Tuomas sneak pole position last week, or was that a different event? Tuomas is on TeamSpeak. Can you recall Tuomas if you're there?
Yeah, I won the race.
You won? Yeah, I did. Yes, did you not get pole position on our last attempt qualifying lap? Yes, it was an exciting one, and you won the race as well. So yeah, Thomas again, one to watch out for. But Dennis, Lint, and Craig Patterson are on the server tonight as well. So let's go and pick up a driver to watch around. May as well start with Craig Patterson. We'll switch to the driver's point of view. He's coming down to the chicane, which leads him into the wall of champions. And we're going to stick with Craig for a flying lap. Joe, if you want to assume that camera viewpoint, you can talk us around Craig's flying lap, which will be starting in a moment.
Yes, just coming to the final chicane, which is still quite important to start your next lap off, because you need to make sure you get through there cleanly to get a nice fast run into turn number 1. That's that slight right-hander there. Then you're into turn number 2, which is this left-hander. Going into turn number 3 of Virage Center, trying to get as tight as possible. Craig Patterson sitting out a little bit from the apex, but gets the outside apex, heading down towards turn number 4 and 5, the first chicane. He dips it in, goes slightly onto the red part of that apex and continues running through out of the section. Heading through turn number 6. The back marker came out of the pits in front of him. Hopefully it won't be too much of a distraction as Craig goes fastest in through the first sector. Through turn number 7 and 8 now. He puts it right to the limit as he's going to try and pick up the slipstream from the back markers that's just up the road. Heading up towards 9 and 10. The third chicane on the circuit. Back marker moves out the way. Craig's going to turn it in for the corner. Lovely through turns 9 and 10. Pushes it right to the wall, making sure he doesn't tap the wall on the outside of the corner there. Heading down to the hairpin at the bottom end of the circuit. Turn number 11. Gets under the brakes and again a lot faster through that second sector. 3/10 up on the pole time. Heading out of the section then through turns 12 and in this slight right-hander, which is technically turn number 13. You got a very long straight here, which will be very important in the race. Getting a lot of slipstream. Heading down to turn 14 and 15. The final chicane. Craig's going to make sure he gets onto the brakes and avoid the wall of champions on the outside. He's going to get perfectly through the apex, staying far enough away from the wall, tapping the gas a little bit there. He's going to get on as he goes up the gears and he goes going to go across the line. It's going to be half a second faster, 1:32.368.
Yes, indeed. That was a very nice lap from Craig. So he is in pole position. Still 10 minutes to go. All the drivers will be pretty much on. Well, that was Craig's second hot lap. With only a 15-minute qualifying session. That's about as many as you could possibly do at this early stage of qualifying. Dan O'Neill in second place at the moment, and he is out on track just as he goes past somebody who had spun there on the second chicane. So yeah, we'll stick with Dan O'Neill. He is 4/10 down at the moment on the first sector, and that split time was in red as well, which means it was no improvement for Dan on his own personal first sector split. So the third chicane. The third chicane? Yes, it is. I think so. The third chicane of the circuit, heading down towards the hairpin. Late braking zone in these Formula 3 cars. The tin tops braking are much earlier for that hairpin. That will seem to be very nice and tidy on the power. 6/10 down. This is a time, that split time is compared to the leader, Craig Patterson. 6/10 down again. It was in red, so no improvement on his own personal best. But if he can nail the final chicane and keep himself out of the Walden Champions, we might just see him close that gap between himself and Craig Patterson in pole position. That was certainly right on the limit for Dan. Didn't collect the Wall of Champions too hard. I think he gave it a slight tap, but no improvement for Daniel. A 1:33 dead, pretty much, just 4/100 slower than his current best. Trying to look at the track map, but as usual, Dinhard is not giving us the most accurate information as to what's going on. But Dennis Lind is who we're following. He is fastest at the second split. He's heading towards the final chicane. Joe, do you want to take over? Dennis Lind just coming towards the Wall of Champions now, fastest at the moment.
Yeah, he's going to head in on the braking, getting the right hander, clipping that sausage curve up the inside slightly, but pushing the car right to the limit. Stays off the grass, unlike Craig Patterson. Going to come across the line, and it is going to be a pole position time. 3/10 faster than what Craig did. But Dennis is going to continue on a nice fast lap here, and hopefully we'll string together another time lap. He just wiggles the rear end of the car and puts it onto the grass. That may have lost him a few tenths there, but he's going to keep on running as he heads up to turns 4 and 5.
Yeah, that was...
Again,
that was a very quick time.
Yeah, extremely quick time indeed. That was an amazing time. Then he goes even faster in the first sector once more. 0.005 of a second up. Even though he had a 2 wobbles actually coming out of the corners. And he keeps on putting the car onto the grass that little bit. But he's going to try his hardest to go as fast as possible. Already slightly fast through the first sector. Coming up to the third chicane now. And he's going to see if he can improve, pushing it right to the wall again as he heads into the final sector. Let's see what his split time is compared to last lap. It's going to be up once more, almost 2/10 up in fact. A little bit late braking into the hairpin though. Going to go for the exit of the corner. He's going to run as fast as he can along the main straight down into the final chicane.
I think, Joe, the hairpin is a corner where you can really make or break a lap, and we saw that Dennis was 2/10, I believe, give or take, up on the second sector split, which is just before the hairpin. From the trackside camera, the hairpin didn't look as clean as it could be. A bit of wiggling on exit, so it'll be interesting to see if his lap time improves as he heads now towards that finish line. It does.
It's improve. A 31.
Yeah,
that's amazing. It's the first 31 I think I've seen all weekend.
It was a very nice lap indeed. I'd say the hairpin I didn't think looked as tidy as I know Dennis can usually put laps together. But despite those minor errors, he still improves his time. Clearly making or using as much track as he possibly can to maximise that lap time. Craig Patterson is out on track and he has just gone quickest in the first sector, 5/100ths up. So he's heading now down towards the third chicane. Can he keep it nice and tidy? We're going to switch to the driver's viewpoint, get the best feel for whether he is stringing the corners together nicely or not. Second sector split coming up. This is going to be crucial. It's best for him, but it's not the fastest lap. He's 1/10 off the fastest lap. It is an improvement for Craig Patterson, so he'll be keen on still keeping this lap together. Just the final chicane to negotiate. There is an escape route, I believe, an escape path on that final chicane. I wouldn't expect to be seeing drivers using it in qualifying, but certainly in the race, anybody misses their braking point or anything like that, they can use the escape route. They may or may not get a track limit violation, but I would suspect they might get away with it because they'll be on the brakes trying to avoid making contact with anybody. 132.1 for Craig, an improvement. Now just 4/10 behind Dennis Lind. Craig shores up his second place, front row of the grid for Craig Patterson. Just 4 minutes left on the clock. Anybody particularly worth watching out on track that you might have spotted, Joe?
I am currently watching Edward Rocket as he's just got onto a flying lap as he heads through the first couple of corners, but he seems to be going rather slow under braking midway through turn number 2.
We'll just switch then to Alan Terzic, I think, who's just further up the field, although he's involved in a bit of traffic. I think he's using all the track he can to try and make his way through there. Alan Terzic currently in 4th place. I'm not sure what the split time was. It's not come up.
I believe he is on an outlap as he slides it big there.
He's certainly pushing very hard for an outlap, but if that indeed is the case, well, I guess he'd be getting some heat into the tyres. But if he was on an outlap, if he was on an outlap rather, I wouldn't have expected to see him fighting his way past the other drivers quite so vigorously in case they were on a hot lap. So we'll stick with Alan this time. We have got the split time. It looks very slow, so I'm not sure what's going on with Alan. Certainly a lot of smoke coming from his tyres. Who else is near the start of a hot lap? See if we can find somebody. Call anybody out, Joe, that you spot, and we'll switch straight to them.
I can find no one along that pit
Please
straight.
don't overtake me.
Jean-Pierre Pierre has just gone on to a hot lap, currently in P21.
Okay, we'll give Jean-Pierre some screen time. Yeah, Jean-Pierre in 21st place at the moment. He's put together 8 laps, top speed of 148.5 miles an hour. 134.3 is his best time. Let's see what his first sector split comes up with. It's green for Jean-Pierre. Jean-Pierre Pierre. That means he has improved on his personal best, just 3/10 off the quickest time. So that looks like a real good first sector for Jean-Pierre as he heads now down towards the third chicane. A critical one to get right. This can really pick up a lot of time. We go over the curbs too much in these F3s and it will bounce you around, throw you off pace.
Yep, as he heads down to the hairpin, he's still in the green. He's 9/10 off of the pole position lap time now, but he's a 56.2. Really nice lap time for Jean-Pierre. It definitely is faster than his previous lap times. He heads along now this final straight before the chicane, and that is going to really make or break your lap even more than the hairpin. If you get it wrong at the chicane, you can easily extend the track limits. You can easily get it onto the sausage curbs and spin your car.
Indeed, it's called the Wall of Champions for a reason. It's collected a fair few in the past, but that looked very tidy for Jean-Pierre. I would expect to see him pick up 4 or 5 places, if not more, on this lap. This looks really good for him. Yes, a real nice improvement. 21st and then up to 9th place, a 133.3. A pleasure to catch that lap from Jean-Pierre, and a real nice top 10 grid position with just 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. Alan Terzic, who we tried to pick up early with on our out lap or hot lap, but we're with Alan now as he negotiates that first sequence of corners, heading down to the first chicane. And you can take a fair bit of curb on this, but as with a lot of the curbs, the more you take, the more unsettled the car becomes. The first sector split will be interesting to see. It's looked fairly good so far. It is an improvement for Alan. He is only 1/100th slower than the quickest first sector. A little bit of traffic there, but it moves over. That was Jean-Pierre, who would just followed round. He pulled over very nice for Alan Terzic. So, a significant improvement for Alan. 1/10 behind the fastest first sector split. It looks really smooth through there, right on the absolute limit. You could feel the car snaking around, writhing underneath him as he tries to keep that speed up and get the power down on corner exit. Again, it's in green, 3/10 give or take down off the top sector time. I would expect to see him up into second place if he can maintain that sort of gap. What do you think, Joe?
I really think he will be able to maintain it, and that will probably knock him then into second if he's able to hold that as close as he possibly can to Craig's time. If not, it's going to knock him back up to third position past Dan O'Neill, so it'll still gain him at least one position, but it could be up to second position if he's able to string it together. But a little bit of a mistake through the final chicane. He taps the wall. Let's see if he can keep the power down, though.
Sorry, Rob. I just had too much of a slipstream.
It is an improvement.
He sneaks himself above Dan O'Neill. Not quite the 2 places I think he was probably hoping for, but nonetheless, a real quick lap. Now the clock has reached 0, so only drivers who are already out on hot laps will get any improvement. We're just with Craig Patterson. Is he going to make any difference? Is this going to be a fantastic last-ditch effort from Craig? 132.1 is his best. That was a 10th slower, so no improvement for Craig Patterson. We're going to switch to 13th place if we can just catch them. I think that is Gasper, I'm hoping. Yes, there he is, Gasper Grabenc, or Grabenc rather. Oh no, he has finished his hot lap, I think. So let's quickly go through those grid positions. I'll do my best not to ruin anybody's names too much. Dennis Lind puts in a fantastic performance. A 131, the only gentleman driver to get into the 31s. 131.7 for him. Craig Patterson is the other person on the front row. He's in a 132.1. Alan Terzic, we saw that nice lap, 132.3. Dan O'Neill in 4th, 132.6. Tuomas Lankinen, he's done very well. 5th place for Tuomas. We'll be keeping our eyes on him in the race. 6th place, the first of the Legale clan, is Paul Legale. Yes, yay. Mark Breslin in 7th place. Nice to have you on the server tonight, Mark. Nice qualifying position for you there, sir.
Why, thank you.
Matt Legale. Oh, he's just knocked himself up to 8th place. Matt, was that your last-ditched effort? I just saw you appear there. Timing.
1 second to go.
Just as I call out 8th place, your name jumps in there, so that must be a good omen, I think. Matt Legale in 8th. Joachim, how do I pronounce your surname, Joachim?
Nice try. Steensness.
Steensness.
Something like that.
Something like that. Okay, yeah, Joachim. Thank you very much. Joachim is in 9th place. Jean-Pierre Père, we saw his good lap. He picked up 10 odd places on his fastest performance. He is in 10th place. Theo is in 11th place. A good qualifying position for him. Edward Rocket is in 12th. Gasper Grabenc in 13th place. Marius Soudal, 14th. Franklin Stegging is in 15th place, making himself just about in the top half of the grid. Manos Papangelou in 16th. Steve Kenwood 17th. Stefan Hiller in 18th. Jesper Holmgaard. Hope I haven't ruined your first name there, Jesper. In 19th place, Bart Zverink in 20th. Jörn Horbelt 21st. Fabrice Morilato in 22nd. Johnny Statheros, regular in 23rd. Carl Little 24th. Daniel Radell 25th. Steve Legale 26th. Rob Milliken 27th. Sven Arne Anderson 28th. Ooh, I'm getting some unusual characters showing in the name there. Radislaw Pitkowski, I'm guessing, in 29th. And Patrick is on the survey. Don't know if he put a lap in or not, but he's there. And we have 32 people on the track, of which 2 are commentators. So 30 drivers out there tonight. So we've got a 3-minute warm-up session. Joseph, who do you think are the guys to watch particularly? Now, obviously Dennis Lint has put an excellent lap in. Craig is often at the top end of the grid, and once again he is. Alan Terzic is often up there. Dan O'Neill as well, and Tuomas. But any names particularly that stand out to you tonight as people to watch?
I think we shouldn't really discount Matt Legale getting involved in a front sort of grid battle here. I think he can work out a few positions in the first lap or two and maybe work his way up into a top 5. Looking a little bit further down the order, I think we also got Theo Vandenbrink. He's quite a regular in race department, and I think he might be able to work himself. He's just off of the top 10. He might be able to move up a few positions again in the early stages of the race. Near the rear of the field, though, I think we'll see some improvements in their qualifying positions by Steve Kenwood, Bart Zweerink, Johnny Strathworth. Not really positions that I normally see those guys in. Yeah, it's not really positions that I normally see those guys sort of in. Also at the 24th position, Carl Little, I've seen that he's been able to improve in qualifying positions a heck of a lot in a lot of events I've seen him in, so I think we might be able to see him get into a top 15.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Joseph. Manos, I think for me, is somebody who stands out. He's in 16th place, and he
stands out because he's all caps.
Indeed, that was the reason.
Shouty man.
But no, Manos is just outside of the top half. I would think we might see Manos move up a few places, as I would say so for Franklin as well. Marius Sudau often performs very well. He's in 40th place, so lots of regular names and ones that we see on the FD quite often here tonight. But yeah, I think it could be a very interesting event. Fortunately, Montreal is a big enough circuit that it will accommodate 30 cars on the track fairly easily, hopefully without too many incidents.
What about the fuel, guys? Sorry to interrupt, but...
A full tank will do 37 minutes, so you'll need to stop for fuel.
Yeah, but how much in the stop?
I'm putting 14 litres.
Right.
So, Craig, then, since we're talking fuel strategy, does that mean you're starting off with a full tank and then doing a bit of a splash and dash then? Or are you not giving away your strategy, you're just saying that you're taking a full tank plus 14 litres, but you may not be splitting it like that?
Yeah, who knows?
Who could say?
Who's stopping?
Everybody will have to stop tonight with a 45-minute race. There's no way the fuel tank will get through, so no need for additional fuel usage or anything like that, like we did last week. It will be a forced stop due to the fact the cars can't make it to the end without it. Tyre wear, I think, is pretty reasonable. Well, is it reasonable, guys? How have you found tyre wear? Anybody done any long testing sessions?
Don't all speak at once.
Yeah. Just keep. Obviously, nobody's driven more than a lap.
The tyres wear down at a certain rate.
Thank you, Edward. Thank you. some useful insight there, Edward. The tyres wear down. So yes, the clock has reached 0. I'm going to try very hard this week not to mess up and lose my DIN HUD display, so that hopefully we can do some better commentary. As usual, we need to wait for the clock to count down to 0. And then the formation lap will start. Fortunately, tonight, Joseph, I believe we can go back to the pitch during the formation lap if we make a mistake. I think.
Bonne chance et bonsoir.
Yes, because obviously last week we didn't have that formation lap when we were doing the Formula Trainer event.
Yes,
so we both went out to the grid. I actually went onto the grid at the same time as you. I was just quick enough to press my S button.
You're clearly quicker on the keys than myself. But I was kind of thinking, oh no, this is wrong. If I hit escape, what should I do? And then I thought, well, I've got to. I couldn't leave my car on the grid, getting people's way. So yes, we took the option with no steering wheel plugged into the computer. We took the option to go back to the pits, but unfortunately, that meant I lost all my DIN HUD overlay. But just 5 seconds now. Anybody still to join that racetrack, better get out there now. Otherwise, you will be starting from the pit lane.
Looks like 2 people didn't make it. I think. Not too sure.
Those commentators,
that's probably what it is.
There's 2 other people other than the commentators on my screen.
No, everyone else has been able to make it onto the grid.
Oh, thank you, Joseph. In case anybody hasn't quite made it, we're pretty sure everybody has, then if you don't know, you must not pass the green light, the red light rather. The red light at the end of the pit exit. If you do, you'll be disqualified. You've got to wait for it to go green. Anyway, we're watching Dennis Lind, who is pretty much all by himself. Dennis, slow down. It's just a formation lap. Everybody else has been very slow to get away. And he's got plenty of gap behind him. He'll be hoping not to be standing on the grid for too long, or his tyres will be cooling off and his engine will be getting too hot.
Does that sound so I'm playing University Challenge in the background or something?
It could be, yeah. Could be like, Race Department, right. What's your answer?
Oh, someone spun on the
someone's gone
formation
away.
lap. Bart has
dear.
spun. He's been able to flip the car around though, and he's going to get going again.
That's new for me.
Bart,
I hope he hasn't flipped the car.
spin it round,
Flipped.
maybe. Rather, flick it. Flick it round. Yes. What's damage set to? I forgot to have a look. Does anybody know? I don't want to press escape, and nobody else.
I
knows.
think it's smack a wall quite. You can smack a wall
35%.
quite hard with no damage.
Yeah, that's what we hope for. I mean, a really bad hit, even will take your car out, as it should do. But yeah, we want to make it so that generally speaking, you need to use a bit of care, a bit of caution. You can't just slam it into the walls all the time. But also, people are going to make mistakes. This is a club event; it's meant to be fun. We don't want half the field
Spin
finished
on the back
after 2 or
straight.
3 laps. So we've got spinners on the
not
back
the only
straight,
one.
but hopefully,
Seriously? Come on.
hopefully they'll sort themselves out. It's just a formation lap, guys. Take it easy, as Alan Terzic is doing a bit of a display for us in the background. Dennis Lynch puts the last little bit of heat into his tyres. We're just waiting now for the cars to form up, and then the lights will come on.
Race Department knobs.
Hello, yes, Race Department knobs. Who is it that's using a shaver? Theo. Your mic seems to be transmitting occasionally, sir, and it sounds like you're having a really close shave.
Put it up.
Sounds like you've got a hammer drill going there, buddy.
Or you're electrocuting yourself.
This shot can't be hurting my ears.
Oh, it's getting worse. Getting worse.
And orange as well.
Wow.
Alright, we're going to have to mute Theo till he sorts that one out. Anyway, the lights are just going green. Can we get the camera? There we go. 4 lights, 5 lights. Green. They're off. Dennis Lind got a good getaway. Craig Patterson seemed to get a very good getaway. Didn't Alan Terzic just behind as well. Let's switch to Alan Terzic. Yes, all good in
Terzic
contact.
ran onto the... Terzic actually ran onto that inside line, trying to almost onto the grass as well. This was why he's lost out a little bit. Position a big slide. I don't know.
A spin from the Dennis Lind. I think that was a spin.
No, it's O'Neill.
Oh, it's O'Neill. Sorry,
Dennis.
Theo. Can someone with TeamSpeak power go and kick Theo from TeamSpeak, because we can't hear anything?
Apologies, I've actually muted Theo and I don't have admin rights on TeamSpeak. Theo, if you can turn your mic off, sir, it would be much appreciated.
I can't concentrate with that noise.
I really can't hear a bloody thing.
Someone's going to have to either restart this race or...
I'm out.
Jim, you're going to have to restart it, mate. There's no chance.
I've come out. Now, great. Okay. I've come out of the game. Got it.
Jim, you're going to have to restart the race.
Okay.
There's no chance.
There is a lot of chaos on it. It's very rare for us to
It's
restart the race.
That's bullshit.
Oh, that's rough.
Gotta mute that mic. Or kick him or something.
Unfortunately, I don't have admin powers. It'd be very unusual to restart a race. Let me just unmute Theo and actually have a listen myself,
Right,
and I'll
gone.
make a decision.
It's
Just give me a
sorted.
second. It's gone, is it?
It's kind of...
He's just gone and oh my god, I unmuted that and holy crap.
It's gone now.
Oh, that's silence.
Okay, I'll take a group decision on this. It's very unusual to restart the server. We are streaming as well. Do you want to restart race, guys, or not? I'll take a group decision on it.
I do.
Yes.
I'm up to 14, I don't.
Yeah. Well, I'm in second and Pip's in first, but...
I've been taken out 3 times, yes.
I've been hit twice by someone, but they went off on the
Okay,
tight corner.
Guys, hold on. I will restart it. We're going to restart the event. It's very rare. Apologies, viewers. This is very rare for us to do. But I think some drivers got distracted by the noise off one of the guys' mics. So it certainly wasn't intentional.
Can you put a message on the server, please?
I'll do my best. Hold on a second.
I'll go off TeamSpeak, okay?
No problem, Theo. It's not your fault, you know. And no harm meant, but you know, we'll sort it out.
I don't know what it is, so we'll see. Bye bye.
Wait a minute. Okay, Theo.
Okay, guys.
I think more just have 1 or 2 drivers who are just trying to overtake on every single corner.
We're restarting the race.
Well, we are starting it, guy.
Can you tell me when I can get back in, please?
It's got the 1 minute. Are you not on the server? Are you not on
Come
the server?
now.
1 minute.
it's in race sessions. If you've actually left the server,
No,
that's going to cause a problem.
That's alright, Dennis, don't worry
Yeah,
about
it
it.
says current session closed.
Make sure
Oh,
you
it's
keep
gonna have
this
restart
guy
warm
from
up.
out,
don't worry.
Calm down, everyone. We're gonna have fun.
It's club racing.
Yeah, it's club racing. Don't worry. I'm going to have to research the command unless somebody can tell me to restart warm-up session because I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
I think you'd have to skip to practice and then skip to qualifying and then skip
That
to
would
warm-up.
reset the grid, I think. That's why I
Is
don't
it?
wanna do
Yeah,
that.
that's the problem.
But everything looks fine, right?
Would a / restart warm up work? No. If you're admin.
I have cars missing in front of me. There's one now.
5 seconds.
That didn't work, the restart warm-up.
Right, let's try
I'm just
again.
researching the command for restart warm-up. I think I found out what it is. Hold on.
We're making off at a snail's pace.
Yeah,
There we go.
okay, we've got restart warm-up, guys. Steve, get on the server as quick as you can. I'm not going to regardless of what happens, I can't restart it again, gentlemen. As soon as we get the people on the server...
16 minutes, Jim, is it?
I'll advance it. As soon as we get everybody on the server, I'm advancing it. So get on the server as quick as you can.
It's Theo.
Warm-up. Yeah. Theo should be... He's come off TeamSpeak, but he should be on the server. I'm hoping there's no reason for him to leave the race, Theo. Is Steve still there, Steve Legale?
Yeah.
You getting back on? We're missing 2, I think, so as soon as Steve gets back on, we'd be missing 1. Theo, I can't see on the server, and he's not on TeamSpeak.
No, I think he's gone completely.
Never mind. So as soon as you're on, Steve Legale, we're going to go to
I made
race.
an awesome start.
Apologies, viewers. Apologies, racers, if this wasn't to your liking. Steve's on the server now. We're going to go to race any second. Steve, as soon as you confirm you're definitely on, I'm going to advance it.
Yeah, definitely on.
Here we go.
All ready to go. Thank
Get
you.
your scat up, Steve.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's already in.
Keep it,
Thank you.
gentlemen. I know you do. It's a club race. It's have fun. It's 45 minutes. Keep it as clean as you can. Everybody wants a good race. There was a lot of incidents on for various reasons, I'm sure, due to the sound distraction putting people off on the most intense part of the race. So
couldn't hear the gears.
Yeah,
I actually got through safe, but it wasn't really fair on the people who couldn't.
Of course, yeah. I think a lot of incidents.
Couldn't even hear my car.
Yeah, knock-on effect. Obviously, not intentional by Theo whatsoever.
No.
So I think he either pushed the talk button, got stuck on, or whatever it was. Shame that we lost Theo, but yeah, keep it clean, guys. Let's have 45 minutes of racing. Let's not have 2 minutes of racing and then 43 minutes of you sitting at the side of the track.
Can we have a repeat of the start then, where I took the lead at turn 1, please?
I'll try. So apologies, viewers. So you've had to wait an extra little bit of time. 28 million viewers watching that race fall into disarray due to one of the drivers having a problem with their mic. But we will have another attempt at this. Hopefully another bit of fun. Joseph, come to my rescue, Joseph. Say something for me.
No.
Let's try and attempt to.
Yeah, we're with Dennis. I'm going to watch Dennis round on the formation lap.
I'm starting from the pit lane. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I thought this warm up. Why you don't say you would go in the race, guys?
He did.
I did say several times in advance to the race, Manos. I do apologise if you didn't catch that. This is always why I hate restarting events, because it always causes problems for other people by accident.
Yes.
I do apologise, Manos, that's happened for you, sir.
Yeah, I missed it as well because I was doing dinner, but
sorry, Edward. You're still with this guy, with this number of people on it, Manos and Edward. You're going to have great fun fighting your way through the pack. With this number of people on the track, you'll be catching them up very quickly. Even though you have to wait quite a bit at the start, you're going to have a lot of fun fighting your way through.
Sorry, I can start side by side. Nothing against it.
You're sneaking ahead, actually, but we'll say you're side by side.
Well, who's further up in the grid?
I have no idea. I cannot remember the grid anymore.
You're supposed to be 11th. So yeah, you should be first.
So they're just coming along the second to last straight, heading up to chicane, and then we will be getting going. And hopefully this time, no one in TeamSpeak displaying weird sounds, so we should be okay. No driver will be distracted.
Well, unless Steve starts talking.
Hey,
That's true.
got it, Rocket.
Dennis is pulled away from the rest of the field though, so he's going to be sitting on the grid, waiting for the rest of the drivers to sit along, and he's going to lose some temperature in those tyres.
Can't lose temperature if you never had any in the first place.
That's true. I rarely do any weaving on my formation laps because it too often results in collisions. So the last of the drivers just making their way down and around that final chicane past the Wall of Champions. Two drivers, unfortunately, always happens with server restarts. Two drivers, Edward Rocket and Manos Papangelou. We will keep an eye on them. Those two guys are unfortunately missed the race restart. This is why we really don't like, even with big technical issues like we had, really don't like restarting races because
Good luck again, guys.
some people miss out.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll hopefully have a good start here.
Good luck.
Just waiting for the last couple of drivers to form up. Last reminder, take it easy guys, let's have the 45 minutes of racing. The start is important, but the race is important too.
Lights are counting. We're at 5. They're about to go down.
That's the green flag.
And we are away. And I cannot see everyone because they're glitching in and out for me. There we go. The race leader's heading up to turn number 1, but we've got a number of side-by-sides behind. Specifically in the midfield, massive lockup though, but it seems everyone's through relatively cleanly at the moment. Almost a bus stop in the middle of the... oh, there's a spin at the edge and a big crash out of turn number 2. About 5 or 6 cars involved, 4 are stopped on the circuit at the moment.
Not sure who that was, but Joe, if you can work out what's going on, but we're currently riding with, from the rear wing of Dennis Lynn, looking back at Craig Patterson. Looks like the vast majority of drivers made it through that first sequence okay, and Dennis has already pulled out a little bit of breathing space over Craig, and he'll be quite happy with that. Half a second separating Dennis and Craig at the moment. Looking slightly further back through the pack than Craig Patterson. He was second on the grid and still remains in second. Alan Serzik, he was third, I think, and is, still third. Dan O'Neill fourth, but Tuomas Lankinen just snuck side by side with him, but maybe something happened to Tuomas there. He lost the place, so he's battling. Who's he battling with? Paul Le Galley. He picked up almost a place on Dan O'Neill, but I think in the process of trying to find his way past, he's got a poor exit out of the hairpin, and Paul Le Galley is now pressurising him as they head towards that final chicane. Their side, I thought they were side by side, but the trick of the camera, Thomas Langton manages to keep hold of that place.
But he's going to go for the left-hand side, heading up to turn number 1 and 2, which will be the inside, but he can't quite do it. He's again going to have to drop behind, and on the braking, he brakes a little bit earlier, and Tuomas just up ahead into turn number 3 now, and he's got it. Tuomas twitches the car. Paul runs it a lot smoother, but he can't quite make a move as of yet.
Yeah, Tuomas is going to have to be careful because he's got the Le Galley clan, or 2 members of that Le Galley clan, applying pressure. Both Matt and Paul Le Galley are close behind. Paul following very close behind, making sure that Tuomas knows his mirrors. But through these twisty sections, really Tuomas has got to make a mistake. Paul to have any hope of making a pass. Early stages, the tyres would pretty much be up to temperature now. Maybe Paul would be better off backing off a bit, do you think, Joe, and then trying to carry the speed through the corners rather than tucking himself so close through the twisty sections?
You're going to want to back out because you're going to lose a lot of your downforce, and you're going to start to go a little bit wider through a number of these corners if you're sitting really close. But Matt Le Galley actually just behind, almost looking up the inside of Paul, but they sit together at the moment. Probably going to try working together. But a big slide by Matt on the exit of the hairpin, unfortunately loses him out of that battle.
Yeah, Matt Le Galley lost a place there. I think, yeah, Mark Breslin picked up a place. Matt Le Galley lost a place, so he'll have a little bit of work to do to catch up now with that battle for 5th place between Tuomas and Paul. Just looking at the split times now for the closest battles. This does appear to be one of it. Although further down, Gasper and Johnny Statteros and Steve Kenwood seem to have a great battle. So we're going to switch now to that battle. Yeah, we're looking back now from Joachim. Joachim's got Gasper just behind, but Gasper, who are now riding from the rear wing of Gasper's car, looking back at Johnny Statteros, Steve Kenwood and Jörn Horbelt. all within, 1.3 seconds as it stands. Johnny locking up on the brakes, runs wide. He's going to lose time now as Gasper gets a much tidier line through that sequence of corners. Well, Johnny didn't lose as much time as I thought he might do there. He managed to keep a hold of that car through that second corner despite running wide on the exit of the first.
And actually, Steve Kenwood has lost out most of the time in that first sector, and he's sort of lost out a little bit on this battle. Johnny Strathers trying his hardest to keep up to Gasper Bank just up ahead. But you've actually got just in front of that, you've got Stensnays and Holmgard. They're rather close as well, and that's a battle for P number 11.
Yeah, certainly Steve Kenwood is managing to just hook up into the slipstream of Johnny Statteros, that distinctive red car Ferrari look-alike of Steve Kenwood, closing up on the rear wing. He's in the slipstream again. I would think that maybe we're going to see a little move made by Steve. Certainly he's going to have a little look out, I think. Oh no, he doesn't. He proves me wrong, keeps it all very tidy. But my word, that was close. A twitch from Steve's car, but he's still got the power down very nicely. Steve's definitely got the slipstream now. We're going to have a look on the outside. It will be Johnny Statteros defending the inside line into the final chicane of the World Champions. Steve's got the overlap and the speed on the outside. That's going to be very difficult. I think Johnny Statteros is going to keep the corner.
There's a little bit of contact there and a bit of tyre banging as they head into the chicane, but it seems like they're both going to keep it on the circuit for now.
About the lead.
That was, thank you very much for the heads-up fight for the lead. So let's quickly switch to Dennis Lind and Craig Patterson. Looking back now from Dennis's rear wing. Yes, indeed, it is a fight for the lead. Craig Patterson, Alan Terzic, and Dan O'Neill, who gave us the heads-up there in fourth place. These guys are within 2 seconds, the first 4 drivers. All have got a shot, really, at picking up a place if they can string the corners together and keep those consistent lap times. Just seem to be holding, I wouldn't say steady, steady's the wrong word, but holding position, I guess, a better word. Craig got a nice run through that chicane. Alan Terzic dropping back ever so slightly. I think if Craig can nail this hairpin, he's going to be in the slipstream of Dennis Lind as they go down this back straight, as it were, heading towards the Wall of Champions. Craig, I think, is just close enough to get that slipstream. It will depend on what his wing settings are as to whether he can close that gap. But Joe, it looks like he's closing. What do you think?
I think he's going to be able to look for the move, but he's not going to. He's going to wait until turn number 2. That's probably going to be his best opportunity. If he can string through the first section of corners, he might be able to make a move. But he drops off on the exit of the chicane, coming out of the final section of corners, and up to the first sector now. He's going to try to close back up to Dennis Lind. But for now, he's going to have to remain behind and maybe wait in a few laps' time to make a move. He's got to keep the tyres saved as well. We're obviously going to see a pit stop for fuel. We'll most likely see tyres changed as well. But it's going to be who will have the fresher tyres coming to that pit stop, because the driver's going to want to continue pushing as fast as they can near the end of the stint.
I've just been watching the timing board there, and I noticed Steve Kenwood has managed to make his way past Johnny Statteros. It's Steve Kenwood, who we were watching that fight between Steve and Johnny. He is now up into 13th place. Johnny Statteros down to 14th. Stick with the leaders. They were still riding from the rear wing of Dennis Lind. Craig Patterson, once more, he seems to be really quick on that third chicane, closing up again on the back of Dennis's car. Dennis, a slightly defensive line for him. Alan Terzic closing. I didn't catch any mistake from Dennis. Did you see one, Joe?
I did not see a single mistake from Dennis, so it must be Craig just had a much better exit out of that final, that third chicane, sorry. As Craig's going to go for the move on the outside line up to the final chicane. It looks like he's got the run, but will he be able to hold it under braking?
Alan Terzic, he's in the slipstream of Craig Patterson, so he could be 3 wide.
3 wide!
Oh my god. Wow, what a move by Alan Terzic. If he can keep that together, that was an incredible move by Alan Terzic.
Oh my word!
3 wide into the Wall of Champions. All 3 drivers make it through. Alan Terzic takes the lead, but Dennis Lind got the better run out of the corner as they head down to turn 1. Can Alan Terzic keep hold of it? Dennis kicks the back of the car out, but keeps it just under control. Craig Patterson holding line in this queue of cars, and Dan O'Neill, he's really benefited from this battle going up at the lead, because Dan O'Neill is now closed right up. 4 drivers now within a second of each other as they race.
How did Alan do that? I must ask. That was an amazing move from third straight up the inside past both drivers. into the lead, and a massive slide as well, and he still was able to hold that lead. That was an amazing move by Alan Turzak.
I think the slipstream effect that he picked up from 2 cars ahead, and maybe sometimes you just get that gap between the car in front is just perfect, so that by the end of the straight you're carrying so much momentum that you can catapult yourself round the 2 cars, and he got the luck of getting the inside line as well. As we see Craig Patterson pull to the inside of Dennis Lind as they head towards the hairpin. He cleanly passed, but can Dennis get back level on the brakes? No, Craig cuts across him. Well, I wouldn't say cut, that wasn't a negative term. He closes the door as he was rightfully allowed to do on Dennis Lind, and he has got hold of 2nd place, trying to get close enough to Dennis Lind into his slipstream. He certainly is gaining. Dan O'Neill's having a cheeky look on the inside. Dennis Lind pulling to the inside as well. This is almost a direct replica of what happened on the previous lap, where the guy's further back, the guy in 3rd place picks up such a huge toe down that straight that they almost went 3 wide once more into the Wall of Champions.
And Linda's going to go up the inside of Craig Patterson into turn number 2. Craig slides it slightly, but through turn number 3, we got the inside, a massive drift up front by Alan Turzak though. Smoke coming out of the back of that car as he slides it. Holds it though, and O'Neill is actually trying to get involved from 4th. He's watching this battle, but for now I think he's just going to hold it behind, wait for some mistakes by the drivers in front, and hopefully it will benefit him and get them onto a podium.
That would be exactly what I would be thinking of doing if I was Dan O'Neill in 4th place. These front 3 are battling so hard that if anything goes wrong, and with the close racing that we're seeing, despite their best abilities, there is obviously a chance of a collision, and Dan O'Neill would be the one who would be best placed to pick up a spot or 2 if that does happen. But so far, and it's a real pleasure to see, so far all drivers keeping this racing really clean indeed. I mean, who can deny the skill of these guys to go 2 wide through the final chicane, and not a single guy is collected by the Wall of Champions. So we're going to see that once more as they barrel down towards that final chicane. Craig Patterson, I think, just sneaking to the slipstream. Dennis Lind a little bit further back, but he is getting a toe off Craig Patterson. Craig has got a huge toe, and the slingshot effect, we can see that, is not enough. Alan Turzak defends well. The back of the car writhing around into him, a little tap on the wall. I think Craig's going to have the better run out of that corner, and he defends against Dennis Lind, who's behind. Oh, I've lost track. Craig's in the lead. Sorry, Alan Turzak. Sorry, Alan Turzak lost 2 places. Man. Craig in the lead. Dennis Lind now in the lead. There's lots of tapping going on as the cars ride to get the power down, but Dennis Lind is now up front. Alan Turzak in 2nd. I lost count of how many position changes we had in that little sequence there.
But you've got to notice behind as well, Thomas Lankin in 5th position, he's getting involved. Just behind that, you've got Paul Legale, he's starting to close up as well. So we may have a 5 or even 6 car battle for the lead within the next few minutes if these drivers continue battling as hard as they are.
I nearly missed myself there, Steve.
Yes, indeed, this battle for the front is helping out a number of drivers. Dan O'Neill was able to close up fairly early on as these guys fought hard. Tuomas Lankinen is now reaping the rewards a little bit. He's just 2 seconds off this front group. Dennis has pulled out a little bit of a gap, but I'm not sure if it's just purely the slipstream effect, or maybe if Dennis is running a slightly higher downforce setting, because even though these guys are only just going to be getting a little bit of slipstream, they often seem to close up hugely on Dennis when he is out at front in the lead. Let's watch once again, because Alan Turzak in 2nd is really not picking up any slipstream effect, but he's still gaining.
Oh, a big mistake by Alan Turzak. He's into the Wall of Champions, and Craig's tapped him. He's been able to get through, but it doesn't look like there's any damage on Craig's car.
Dan O'Neill having a look on the inside. He's going to be able to
continue running, but Dan O'Neill's now got involved. He's almost up the inside of Craig Patterson as well. He's going to have to hold it on the outside. There's big contact between O'Neill and Turzak. Thomas Lankin right behind now, also in this battle. Once again, Turzak sliding the car on the exit of turn number 3. Dan O'Neill, it looks like he's going to be able to confirm the position into the chicane, and he has been able to move himself up into P number 3. Like I was saying earlier, just wait for a mistake from the car in front.
Indeed, plenty of wheel tapping there, but both drivers just about keep it all together. And Dan O'Neill has picked up a position. He's up into 3rd place. Tuomas Lankinen. You know I like to watch Tuomas Lankinen go around these tracks, viewers. He's up to 5th place, and yes, he is definitely getting very close to the action up ahead. we look now back from the rear wing of Alan Terzic, we see Thomas Lankinen there in the grey coloured car. Paul Legale also picking up a little bit of time with all the action that's going on up front. Dennis Lind, if we switch back to the leader, Dennis Lind, he's pulled out a little bit of a gap now, 1.5 seconds over Craig Patterson in second place. 31 minutes left on the clock. So I wouldn't expect to see anybody coming into the pits for at least another, what do you think, Joe? Another 5 or 6 minutes, something like that, maybe a bit more before we start getting the early stoppers?
The early stoppers definitely in 5 or 6 minutes. The majority of the field probably coming in halfway through. Therefore, you can put in about the same amount of fuel that you had at the beginning on the same amount of fuel on the tyres. You know what the tyre wear's like, you know how heavy the car is, and you just run it a mirrored stint, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. For those doing a late stop, you'd probably see them coming in with about 10 minutes to go in the race. I definitely did that one race, and it does work out a treat on your tyres. So there'll be a varying number of strategies, but definitely about 5 minutes until we see the early stoppers.
Yeah, and definitely things could change in the pits with these front runners being so close. As Alan Terzic is a big drift, he manages to get a four-wheel tap onto the barriers. I'm not sure if he's a lag I'm seeing or whether he's actually crashing. Now Alan Terzic,
he's out.
Unfortunately, he's a DNF. He's had enough, and he's decided that the race is no more for him. So not happy with how the race was going for him, and he's called it a day. So Thomas Lankinen picks up that place then, because Thomas was just behind Alan Terzic. Thomas now up to 4th. Now the leaders have, I was about to say the leaders have spread themselves out just a little bit, but they haven't, Joe. That Craig Patterson, he's managed to close that 1.5 second gap that Dennis had managed to pull out whilst 2nd, 3rd and 4th were battling. He's managed to close that to just 0.6.
Yay!
Yeah, Craig definitely one of the faster drivers that we've seen. Actually, I saw quite a bit of smoke coming out the rear end of Lynn's car, though. I don't know if that's engine overheating along the entrance of the straight or whether it was just my graphics. Again, it's...
Oh, sorry, Steve.
That's my fault, mate, my fault.
So
are you okay?
Yeah.
It looks like there's definitely smoke coming out the rear of Dennis Lynn's car. It looks like he may have some overheating problems, which we have seen a number of times by Craig Patterson. It looks like it may be going on the other hand, and it might benefit Craig's.
Dan O'Neill's just set a fastest lap, and my word, we saw him put that to good effect, because he pulled up next to Craig Patterson into turn 1, having a cheeky little look, but Craig defends very well, and he manages to keep Dan at bay. But yeah, an interesting time to be putting in the fastest lap. I can only think that Dan got a real good slipstream effect on both the start-finish straight and the straight that leads to the final chicane. At this level of tyre wear, although the fuel tanks are emptying out a little bit, I'd be surprised if drivers are setting fastest laps at this point in the race. What do you think? I mean, I don't know the tyre wear, Joe, on these Formula 3s, but given they're due for a pit stop quite soon, I would have said it's a bit unusual for fastest lap to be being set at the moment.
They're around 80%.
I was going to say, yeah, you can really push these tyres. You don't really have to make a pit stop for the tyres, so we might not see that. But Craig Patterson, he's closed right up into the rear of Dennis Lind heading up to the hairpin, so we may see him move. And I think Lind is down on power. Like I was saying before, smoke is coming out the rear of his engine. I think he's losing time with an overheating engine, which is benefiting Craig, letting him close up, benefiting Dan O'Neill, also following the slipstream of the two drivers in front of him.
Yeah, Craig Patterson's got that slipstream now. Dennis is going to defend, takes the inside line. Craig got such a slingshot effect, a full half a car ahead of Dennis as they head towards that corner. Craig manages to keep it tidy though. Dennis heavy across the curbs, and he loses that position to Craig Patterson. And Dan O'Neill, he's loitering there in 3rd place. He's looking to pick up another spot. He's worked his way up, I think, from 4th on the grid, if I recall. I'm not certain. I think he was 4th on the grid. Thank you, Dan. And he's now picked up a place. But my word, I mean, that could change within a lap or two. He could be in a 1st place with just half a second separating the first 3 drivers at the moment.
As Dennis Lind's going to go for an attack back up the inside of Craig Patterson. Oh my word, just being squeezed by Craig, but they've been able to go through. Yellow flag out there anyway, a car on the outside of the chicane, but Thomas Lankinen still trying to get involved. But here goes Lind again on the outside line. Craig Patterson holding the inside line. Lind is broken later though. He's going to be able to get around the outside. Just keeps it in the track limits. A big slide on the exit, but here comes Dan O'Neill. He's going to make a move past Craig Patterson heading up to the hairpin.
So we're on the static camera just at the hairpin as we watch them all scream down to it. Craig Patterson on the inside, Dennis Lind, and then Dan O'Neill on the outside. Dan O'Neill decides to back out early of the corner, slightly early on the brakes, but look at the way he was able to turn in as he got a clean line through that corner and get a great run. So Dan O'Neill up to second, and he's going to have the slipstream of Craig Patterson, but Dennis Lind is also fighting there. Can Dan O'Neill take the lead? He is! Dan O'Neill's got the lead of the race, but can he keep hold of it by the time they come out of that final chicane? I think he has. Dan O'Neill holds on to it. Very good indeed. Dennis Lind got a good run through there, but yes, he's kept hold of it. And Dan O'Neill takes the lead for the first time in this Formula 3 event from Montreal. 26 minutes on the clock, and Dennis Lind having a look on the outside, keeping that pressure on. Dan manages to close the door and carry enough speed through for Dennis not to have the inside line as they come into turn 2. Some good, clean driving. All the drivers settled down to the rhythm of the event, and we've seen some absolutely fabulous action. A little bit of contact, but nothing too much, and some really great overtaking and races. One of the best races we've had in a long time. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic battling, and I'm so glad it's for the leading positions as well, because any mistake could cost you really high positions in a race like this, and it's so great to be racing these Formula 3s. It's a wonderful car. Montreal, absolute wonderful circuit as well, and Dan O'Neill really working his way up the grid. Started in 4th. He's currently in the lead of the race. He's got Dennis Lind all over his rear. Smoke still coming out the rear of Lind's car. I'm really going to be watching that a heck of a lot for the remainder of this race. We may see an engine overheating for Dennis Lind, and a retirement might come his way. We've seen that for Craig Patterson a number of times in previous events, so we might see it this time by Lind. I've been looking through the field. Only a couple other drivers having the same issue.
Yes, I'm not seeing that on my game, but I have turned down the details a little bit because we had such a big grid tonight. As we see Dennis Lind pulling side by side with Dan. Dan doesn't defend this time. He's let Dennis through, preferring to keep a nice tidy line, settle down the race a little bit. So Dan O'Neill down to second, but he's got the slipstream. He's going to be...
Thomas Lankinen, I noticed there, was running on the... Sorry, there's a battle for the lead. Continue.
A little bit of contact there between Dan and Dennis as they fight through turn 2, but they all make it through. But Craig Patterson, I heard his engine pivot the camera around, and he's having a cheeky look at the inside. A little bit of contact. I think Dan's going to keep it together. Yes, he does. And Craig backing it out there as he knew he'd made a little touch on the back of Dan, but they all keep it through. Very good to see that so far, despite the number of overtakes and the close racing that we've had, none of these drivers has had any form of contact that has taken anybody else
Craig's
out of the race.
Craig's gone back through. He's gone up the inside. He's side by side with Dan O'Neill now, heading up to the third chicane. Will he be able to do a late braking? Doesn't look like it. Dan O'Neill running on the outside line now. On the top left for me. Oh, big crash behind! Big crash!
Yeah, Thomason, not sure if there's any contact or not. We weren't close enough to see it, but Thomas and Paul Legale spin. Both of them managed to make it back on track. Thomas doing a very tidy 360, so I don't think any of them lost any places. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but good to see that nobody will have sustained damage in that. We'll quickly switch back to that little group of drivers.
I think Craig's coming in this lap. I see the icon in the top left saying that he's coming in. We know that he put in less
in the
fuel.
Pit lane. Is there Joe? The crew getting ready?
Like there may be. It looks like he may dive in. He's going in. Craig Patterson is going to be the first of our top runners to go into the pits just before midway. So 23 minutes remaining.
That was an excellent call, Joe. Your eagle eyes spotting the activity in the pit lane there for Craig.
We've got a battle currently for P3. Paul Legales on the rear of Mark Breslin. He's going to go for the inside line into turn number 2. Can't do it. Paul having a big lock up there, but Paul was actually originally ahead of Mark Breslin, so sometime in the last few laps Breslin has been able to make the move past what is currently P3 due to the pit stops.
Yeah, I think that was possibly whatever happened between Paul and Thomas. If there was contact, maybe Paul held up a little bit to let Thomas retake the position. If that was the case, that would have allowed Mark Breslin to close up on this battle and maybe make his way past. Thomas is in the pits at the moment. I saw him coming in the background whilst we were watching Craig Patterson, so that's why he's not here at the moment battling with Paul and Mark Breslin. But yeah, this is definitely pretty much the closest battle going on at the moment. Paul having a little look at the inside, making sure Mark knows that he's in the mirror still. He's still there. Oh, a big slide for Paul. He keeps it together. Just lots of wiggles. He gets it back, pointing in the right direction, and that is some welcome breathing space for Mark Breslin. Now, Dennis Lind, he hasn't pitted. He was out in the lead, I think, just as everybody started to go in. Be interesting to see whether he goes in this time. There's no sign of any activity from his pit crew, so that might explain maybe why. Well, I was going to say he certainly wasn't struggling to keep up with that group.
Dan O'Neill's in.
Dan O'Neill in second place. We'll keep an eye on Dan O'Neill at his pit stop, see whether he comes out of the pits in the same section of track as Craig Patterson is when his stop is over. Interesting to see if they take any gambles with the tyres. It's hard to know if they maybe go for just fuel and no tyres to save those vital few seconds, or whether they go for the set of 4 and think that they can pick the time up. The tyre change is pretty quick on these.
For 14th.
Craig's coming up to the line now. I don't know where Dan is.
So
coming out of the pit lane.
He is indeed, yeah.
So it looks
where's
like
Dan
Craig...
O'Neill coming out of the pit lane? Where's Craig? There he is. So Dan
He's
O'Neill
behind.
right ahead. Yes, so that was a good stop from Dan O'Neill and his team. Not sure how many tyres he took, if any, or all of them. Dan, are you willing to give that info away, or is it too critical for the race at the moment?
Go on, man. Yeah, I took tyres.
He took
it's only another
tyres.
4 seconds, I think.
Is it? So...
I think Craig Patterson had damage from earlier on in the race where we had contact from one of the drivers going off in the Wall of Champions.
Possibly, or maybe just get held up by a little bit of traffic. Maybe if he came out in traffic, that could have cost him the second or two that Dan O'Neill is now ahead. I think
Dennis Lind is giving out black smoke out the rear of his engine.
No, that's not good. We're not seeing that on our cameras, but that's due to my detail settings. So the black smoke for Dennis Lind, 20 minutes still left to race. That is going to be not a good sign for him. He might have to back off the power a little bit. He's got a 7.5 second lead over Mark Breslin. He has got to stop for fuel. There's no way he can make it through to the end of the race. But if you're seeing black smoke, Joseph, then that's not a good sign at all. The game Automobilista that we're watching tonight, it has damage modelling in for engine wear. So if you run the engine too hot, if you close up those air intakes too much to optimise your ability to cut through the air, but obviously it decreases your drag but increases your engine temperature. So maybe Dennis Lind just pushed it slightly too far. Craig Patterson, fastest lap.
A 132.859. Following his pit stops, he's on fresh tyres. He's on about the max amount of fuel that he'll be running this entire race. So it's strange to see actually that he's been able to put in a nice fast lap time on heavy fuel. But obviously those fresh rubber, that's going to implement his race. But there's a big spin around Dennis Lind. It's not put him off at all. And he's going to continue running. He might be one of our late stoppers though. Like I was saying, in a previous race I've done, I've pitted with only 10 minutes to go. So that may be a strategy that Dennis is going for. The freshest set of tyres at the end of the race. Even though you'll lose time because of tyre wear nearing the end of your first stint, in that second stint, it's really if you think you can push hard enough to catch up the time you've lost in the first stint.
Indeed. Now, as the leaders are all spread out a little bit, I'm trying to look further down the field to see if there's any interesting battles to give everybody a little bit of screen time. I think Steve Kenwood and Steve Kenwood and Daniel Radell are having a good old battle for 12th place at the moment. Daniel Radell there just on the inside, a little bit of smoke from his tyres, keeps it out of the wall, but Steve Kenwood getting the much better run out of that corner. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get side by side into the next chicane. Oh no, there's contact there. That's unfortunate. Steve will not have meant that contact at all. I'm sure he'll be giving that place back. Daniel Waddell back out. It's a real shame to see that.
Yeah, sorry about that, Daniel.
The breaking point was a bit earlier. Sorry.
For 13th?
No problem, guys, but that's exactly what we like to see. Mistakes happen. Sheet happens, as it were, and that definitely wasn't a swear word. It was just something that sounded like one. But yeah, the guys doing what they need to do, which is give that place back if they do make a mistake.
Dennis Lind is going to be coming in at the end of this lap. I believe it's saying that his crew is ready for a stop.
Now, remember, there was two drivers, I think, who had to start from the pit lane, Edward Rocket and Manos Papangelou. Now, Edward is up to 10th, and Manos has just fought his way past Fabrice Morilato. So these guys having a great race. I said they would do, fighting their way through the grid.
Go down.
And Fabrice having a little cheeky look side by side with Manos. He manages to make it through, but Fabrice having to hold himself in 13th place as Manos keeps hold of the place he just picked up from him. Manos in 12th at the moment.
I'm keeping an eye on Dennis Lind, and I will let you know if he comes in. He's going straight into the pit lane. Dennis Lind, our race leader, is into the pit. He's got about a 23-second gap over Paul Legallo, who currently is in second, but he was battling with Dan O'Neill and Craig Patterson, who are currently 30 seconds down.
Split times I'm seeing for Paul Legalli are much less, but I'm not sure if Paul's coming in as well. Yes, Paul Legalli is coming into the pits. He hasn't pitted already. I thought that was the case. So Paul Legalli in at the same time. Dennis Lind on the move. Dan O'Neill will be coming down the track very shortly. Yes, he's on that start-finish line. Dennis Lind on the right side of the screen. Dan O'Neill on the left. We're going to watch now. Patrick Veer there is the back mark. He's just coming out. He's just keeping himself out of the way. Dennis Lind comes through. Very courteous driving there from Patrick Veer. Pat knew he had the leading battle bearing down on him. He parks himself tidily up at the side of the track, allows them through. Great to see, Pat. Thank you very much. And Dan O'Neill holds on to the lead with Dennis Lind just a second behind. The pit stops really have worked out for Dan. We know he's given us the inside information. He knows he's got 4 tyres on there. So everything looking pretty good for Dan O'Neill if he can keep it together for the last 15 minutes of this race.
But Craig is looking absolutely steaming. He's put in a fastest lap yet again last lap, and he's running the fastest first sector. He's all over the rear of Dennis Lind. He's going to move to the outside as Lind goes defensive on the inside. He's going to have to sit it behind for now, heading up towards the hairpin. It's all going to be about the exit of the corner, heading down towards the hairpin. It looks like Craig Patterson's got the faster exit. He moves to the right-hand side. This will be the inside going into the hairpin. Will he be able to make the move? Dennis Lind braking a little bit later. He turns in. There's a tiny little bit of contact from my camera angle anyway as they head out of the corner. It looks like Dennis Lind running a little bit faster. Actually, no. Craig Patterson has been able to make the move up the inside through the hairpin. Now it's all about the chicane.
Yes, Craig Patterson just managing to get the straight line speed over Dennis Lind, but Dennis Lind tucks himself back into the slipstream, pops back out again, and he got the inside line. I don't think Craig was expecting that re-overtake, as it were. Just a little bit of slipstream effect was all that Dennis Lind needed to get the momentum back past Craig. But Craig, once more, he'll be on the outside on turn 1, but critically, if he can hold it there, he'll be on the inside in turn 2. No, Dennis Lind closes that door as he's allowed to do so if he can get his car ahead, and he does so through turn 1, shutting the door for turn 2 on Craig Patterson.
Inside, Mark, go inside.
And with all this battling going on for P number 2, Dan O'Neill, he's been able to pull away out in the race lead, and now the gap is almost 10 seconds to this battle. The 10 seconds, I mean 2 seconds.
Yeah, 10 seconds would be very nice for Dan O'Neill indeed, but
I was reading a different gap completely.
Occasionally Dean Hunt does give incorrect information, but yeah, 2 seconds a gap to Dan O'Neill. This battle for second is helping him extend that lead ever so slightly, corner after corner, lap after lap.
For 10th?
Battle for 10th we're hearing, so let's switch for that. I think that's what I heard over the pit radio. Try and get the camera there as quickly as...
Yeah, it's a battle between Holmgaard and Papangallo.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you very much, whoever gave us the heads up. This is Jesper Holmgaard and Manos Papangalou in 10th and 11th place. Nose to tail, pretty much just 3/10 separating the two. I'm not sure if that position has changed recently or not. I know you're concentrating, Manos. Have you changed order recently?
Yes, right now.
Okay, just changed order, but Manos has sucked himself into the slipstream of Jesper's car as they head down to the third chicane. Dennis Lind just set the fastest lap at 132.7 for him, and Franklin Stegink has left the race for some reason. Race not turning out to the way Franklin wanted, so he has DNF. Just 13 minutes left on the clock.
Papangallo, though, all over the rear of Holmgaard into the hairpin, and now he's going to be in the slipstream heading up to the final chicane, which is where overtakes have been happening all race.
He got a great exit there. Managed to keep it nice and tight through the apex, and that allowed him to get a really good exit from the corner. They're side by side. Jesper defending hard. Manos has got the position, but can he hold on to it from the outside? Yes, he does. Oh, clean overtake rather for Manos. Nice to see Jesper try to defend, but the momentum Manos had from the slipstream effect managed to catapult himself around Jesper, and he is up to 10th. That's Manos in 11th place now for Jesper Holmgaard. So I think the battle for second place is still raging. Yes, Dennis Lind, he's managed to take a second out of the lead that Dan O'Neill had. I don't know if Dan had maybe a little bit of traffic. I can see some traffic ahead. I'm not sure he's had to overtake any. Dennis Lindo closing that gap. Craig Patterson dropping back ever so slightly. A second back now for for Craig Patterson in third place. Well, this might be why Dennis Lind is closing that gap, because Dennis has set another fastest lap. That's 2 in a row. 1:32.4 for Dennis Lind. If he can keep that engine going, we saw black smoke before. Joe, can you give us any update on the smoke situation? I'm not seeing anything on my screen, but I haven't all race.
Currently, there is no smoke coming out of Lynn's car, but he obviously had the pit stop, so the car was in neutral for a little bit. That would have cooled the engine down, but I will let you know if any smoke starts to kick out of the engine.
Thank you very much, Joe. So yeah, Dan O'Neill still holding on to that lead. He did have 2-second gap. It's now to just 7/10. Dennis Lind pushing really hard. A little bit of traffic for Dan O'Neill. The blue flags will be waving. There's a spinner up ahead. This could provide a little bit of congestion. Fortunately, the spinner manages to get out of the way nice and cleanly. That was Gasper. He doesn't look like he's got any damage in all his wings. Oh, there's contact there. Gasper was
Lind trying to get past. Yeah, Lind was following the slipstream of Gasper's rank there, and then he just hit him.
Yeah, a mistake there by Lind. Gasper was tucked well over to the side of the track.
We also have a fire on the track.
Oh my god.
We have a fire coming out of the hairpin.
The hairpin. Do you know which driver, Joe?
That
I think.
No, that is Sadao is the last name. I'm trying to find who it is and what position they're in. It is 22nd position, Marius Sadao. His car is no longer on fire, but it's definitely not going to be able to continue.
An engine failure there
in
for
the
Marius.
blue car, the red car's on fire.
Yeah, but I was on fire too.
Oh, right.
I overstressed the engine coming into the hairpin. Oh my god, not this again.
Now we hope Gasper didn't sustain any damage with that contact, that mistake there from Dennis. I mean, Gasper was being lapped, but you know, he was tucked over to the side. Dennis trying to maximise the slipstream, understandably, to close that gap on Dan O'Neill. Just left it a moment too late to pull it out around Gasper and just clipped him, sending Gasper into the wall. But Dennis has still got all his wings. He seems to still be closing up on Dan O'Neill. Can't see where Gasper is. I'm hoping it didn't affect Gasper too significantly. Well, Gasper is now a DNF, so it's a real shame to see a mistake there from Dennis. And Gasper, unfortunately, has DNF'd. Sorry to hear to see that, Gasper. It's a real shame.
Up front though, Dennis Lind, he's about half a second off of Dan O'Neill now. You can't really see the respective time in that gap as we ride on, well, as I'm riding on board, but under braking he closes right up to Dan, but nothing he can do at the moment. He's going to have to wait. We've still got 8 minutes to go, and Lind will be pushing as hard as he can to get onto the rear of Dan O'Neill within these final few laps. Again, another fastest lap put in by Dennis.
Indeed, it's almost every single consecutive lap we see that that purple lap time come up, indicating a new fastest lap of 32.1. Really, really quick times indeed. The track will be rubbing in really nicely now. So I guess with the low fuel and fairly fresh tyres, that will be why we're seeing such quick lap times at the moment. Dan O'Neill keeping that consistency though. I always find it much harder to be out in the lead or to be being chased by another driver than it is to actually be the chaser. Dennis Lind has got everything to gain by being quick, and Dan has only got it to throw away if he makes a mistake by trying to keep that gap over Dennis Lind going. So yeah, usually the leader has the harder job than the follower, but we'll see. There's 7.5 minutes on the clock. Dennis is yet to quite get close enough to get that slipstream. If we switch now to the rear wing of Dan O'Neill, he's too far back to get that slipstream. 7/10 now. A poor exit or a poor hairpin there, I think, for Dennis Lind, because he seemed to lose 2 or 3 tenths down this back straight.
He's going to try and his hardest to gain it all back into this chicane. Runs very close over the second sausage curb as well, and he's been able to gain that all back and some. He's been only 4/10 off of Dan O'Neill now as they head across the line, which is still a tenth faster and a tenth closer than he was last lap.
Indeed, I'm looking slightly further down the field. There seems to be a battle going on, possibly for 10th place. That's Jean-Pierre Père and Jesper Holmgaard. Jesper, we saw battling with Manos Papangelu a few laps ago as well. And Matt Legale possibly in that action, although Dinhard's not giving me the most accurate information. Joe, if you can go and have a look at 10th place and let me know how it's going on, whilst I still ride with the leader. Svenon Anderson pulling over there to allow the leaders through. That was very close indeed, but they all make it through cleanly. How's it looking in 10th place, Joe? That's Jean-Pierre Père and Jesper Holmgaard. Are they battling away?
Currently, the gap between Pierre and Holmgaard is actually bigger than the gap between Holmgaard and Matt Legale, who is in 12th. But no overtakes as of yet. They'll be picking up each other's slipstream, but they're not close enough to make any moves.
Well, just as you say that, Dan O'Neill getting a lot of pressure now from Dennis Lind. Dennis has got that slipstream this time. Sorry, Craig, what was that?
Said take each other out.
Yeah, Craig would be happy to see that. Craig's in 3rd place. He's only 2 seconds back off the leader. Dennis Lind pulls to the inside. There's side by side that switch through the camera on the wall of champions. They make it through keenly, and Dennis Lind has taken the lead away from Dan O'Neill. Well, we know he was setting those fastest laps. Dan O'Neill now will be hoping to tuck himself in behind, get that slipstream, and maybe look for an opportunity to find his way back past. I've been so distracted by the viewing that we're seeing, this great racing that we've had pretty much constantly throughout the race. This was a fantastic combination. I have to say, Craig Patterson helped with advised on this combo. Thank you, Craig. And it certainly has proved to be very good. It's like he's not winning. He's not winning. He's in 3rd place, but he might win. He might win. We're still to see. He's 1.7 seconds off the leader with just under 5 minutes rather on the clock. But yeah, Craig said it was a good combo, and yes, indeed, it really has been. We have had constant battling for the lead. The first 4 positions fighting almost every single lap. The pit stops were interesting, although everybody seemed to come out roughly the way they went in. And lower down the field, we haven't seen much of the action because the rest
13th,
of the lead.
14th, 15th, getting good.
Thank you very much, Edward. We'll switch to that because the leaders seem to have a little bit of breathing space. So we'll switch to 13th place, which is Steve Kenwood. 14th, Fabrice Morilato, and we got the heads up from Edward Rocket. He's in 15th place, just a second and a half behind Steve Kenwood at the moment. Fabrice Morilato closing up under the brakes. Edward, a little lock up for him, but he keeps it all under control. The distinctive orange nose of his Formula 3 car just tucked away in the background there. That gap now is down to 1.3 seconds, so 2/10 pulled out of Steve Kenwood by Edward Rocket in the first few corners alone. Joe, keep an eye on those leaders. Let me know how it's going up there. If we see any battles, particularly Craig Patterson closing that gap maybe, or was Dennis Lind pulling away from Dan, or was Dan managing to keep himself tagged onto the back of him?
Dennis is definitely pulling away just a little bit, but not too much. Craig is definitely pushing his hardest though, and is closed up to about 7/10 behind Dan O'Neill at the moment, and we may see an overtake very shortly.
Well, we're looking now at Fabrice Morilato, who's got Edward Rocket tucked in behind. Edward goes to the inside line to go down to the hairpin. There's a spinner on the track as well. There's a little bit of distraction for the drivers, plenty of smoke, but they all make it through, and Edward Rocket picks up that place with a really nice, clean overtake on Fabrice Morilato. Both drivers, much credit to them for that clean overtake on maximum braking as they go down to that hairpin. And Edward Rocket now is tucked into the slipstream of Steve Kenwood. He has a little cheeky look. Steve Kenwood doesn't bat an eye, and he just keeps his line nice and smooth through the final chicane towards the wall of champions. And Fabrice has closed the gap ever so slightly. Edward Rocket not getting maybe the best run through that final chicane, but he was quick in the first sector. Let's see if he can replicate that once more. Does seem to be quick now. Edward Rocket, don't forget, Edward started from the pit lane after his pit crew were unable to get his car ready for the start quite in time, so he was forced to start from the pit lane. But my word, that would be 30th place, give or take, I think, up to 14th at the moment. That's more than half the grid he's managed to make his way past. Great driving for Edward. And Manos, he also started in the pit lane. Manos is up to a 9th place, so Manos doing very well indeed.
Craig Patterson also got right onto the rear of Dan O'Neill heading up to the final chicane, but at the moment he still has to stay behind. 2 minutes to go.
So give me a heads up and I'll switch to that action if you think there's going to be an overtake, as we're watching Steve Kenwood right behind Jesper Holmgaard. Jesper, can he hold it on the inside? Steve Kenwood trying to get the power down on the outside. Edward Rocket takes advantage of the attempted overtake by Steve Kenwood, and Edward Rocket now up into 30th place, but Steve Kenwood's not giving up. They're side by side as they head down the back straight towards the final chicane. Steve Kenwood dropping back ever so slightly. That was because Edward Rocket had the tow from Jesper Holmgaard. Oh, on the outside. That was a good overtake by Edward Rocket round the outside. Jesper hoping to hold it on the inside, but all three drivers make it through cleanly. And we've had the pleasure of seeing Edward Rocket pick up 2 places in the last 2 laps.
We see a huge crash on the final chicane. We got a driver without a rear wing in the World of Champions.
I'm fine.
We're switching then to 2nd place, Dan O'Neill. Dennis Lind, well, he hasn't managed to pull out much of a gap. Dennis Lind is just 8 tenths further up the track. Dan O'Neill in 2nd place. Craig Patterson 2 tenths behind. We're going to ride now with the rear wing of Dan O'Neill as he fights to keep hold of the 2nd place. All 3 drivers obviously for a podium finish. We just got 25 seconds on the clock, so this is going to be a nail biter right down to the wire. Dan O'Neill keeping that consistency going. He's been up at the front runner and up in that pack of 4 for the whole race, and he's currently holding on to 2nd place. He'll be hoping that Craig Patterson stays behind, and maybe, just maybe, Dennis Lind's engine won't reach the end of the race, but that would be wishful thinking from Dan. It would be a shame to see Dennis not reach or not win, or not get a finish, should I say, just because of engine failure. As Craig Patterson is tucked right in, keeping all very tidy. Craig holding line. He wants to keep it tidy for a good exit on the back corner. They're struggling and fighting the cars to get that power down as they go down the back straight. What do you think, Joe? Is he going to get the slipstream for the overtake or not?
I think he's going to try, but we might see an additional lap in this race depending on where that timer clocks out. But he's going to move to the inside. There was a little bit of a tap with the rear tyre, but he's going to be on the inside line heading into the chicane. Is Dan O'Neill's going to be able to hold it on the outside? He's going to try, squeezed out, but he spun it. Dan O'Neill is around.
Dan made the right decision to do his best to hold of that position. He knew that Tatwamas was another few seconds back. He had, with the closing stages, you've got to battle at the end, and he had that slide. He's kept it out of the wall. It's a shame to see that battle won't go to the line, but you can't blame Dan for doing absolutely everything to keep hold of that place. And the
battle for P10 is still going. Jean-Pierre, Johnny Strathos, they're still running, they were riding side by side actually heading up to the 3rd chicane, but Strathos going to have to sit it behind here at the moment heading up to the hairpin. This battle for a top 10 position.
And Edward Rocket and Steve Kenwood seem to be battling a little bit further back down the track as well, so keep an eye on that. Those 2 drivers. Well, this is, I think, pretty sure it's going to be the last lap. I'm not certain, but my lap display is saying 30 of 30. I think when they cross this line, that's going to be the end. They will
get one more lap after this because Dennis Lind is still behind them on circuit, I believe.
Ah, okay.
I'm just trying to find where he is. He's coming through the hairpin now, so those drivers up to about 14th, I believe 15th actually, will all be getting one more lap. So that battle that we're watching are still going to go on to the next lap.
Well, I just quickly switched to Edward Rocket, who's getting a lot of pressure from Steve Kenwood. He just manages to hold on to that place. Steve Kenwood on the inside, but under the brakes, Edward holds it. Steve Kenwood, he's once more in the slipstream, tucked in. Edward defending. Is he defending? Yes, he is. Steve Kenwood wanted to go to the inside, wanted to go to the outside, but as it happened, he just had to hold fire, and he remains in 13th place at the moment. Dennis Lind has now finished. The leader has finished the race. We're going to stick with this battle. It's pretty much the closest battle we've got on track at the moment. Although Joachim, maybe battle of 7th and 8th, if you can check on that, Joe.
7th and 8th are not near each other.
Okay, sorry. I thought they was closer than Dinhod telling me they were very close.
Strathos is around. Just up in front of that battle.
Indeed, just managed to switch it, catches Johnny Stathero spun. He's got it back facing the right wing. Way rather, all his wings are intact, but he's lost a couple of places in the process. That is a real shame on the closing moments of this race. But he's kept it ahead of Jesper Holmgaard, who's tucked in just behind. We're going to switch then, I think, to the start-finish line, or attempt to, as Manos Papanjulu approaches that. The first 8 drivers have already finished. We can just get the start-finish line if it will let me. No, it's not going to let me, never mind. Yes, Manos Papanjulu crosses the line. Patrick Veer finishes his race as well.
Johnny Stratos is going defensive though on Holmgaard, going up to the final chicane, and Holmgaard is onto the glass, trying to get on the outside line, and he's going to have to concede the position. Johnny Stratos holding on to P13.
Edward Rocket finishes 11th, Steve Kenwood in 12th, Johnny Stathorth 13th, Jesper Holmgaard 14th, and Fabrice Morellotto is the last of the drivers to cross the line, but he was not in a last place. We'll quickly try and go through the race finishing. Dennis Lind, a great race for him, battling all the time with Craig Patterson and Dan O'Neill. And who's the other driver? I can't remember. If you can help me out. Alan, thank you, Alan Terzic, who DNF'd about halfway through the race. So Dennis Lind wins, great race for him. Craig Patterson in second place, just 2 seconds back. Dan O'Neill, he held on to the lead for quite a few laps, but he ends up on the podium, third place for Dan. Twams Lankinen picks up a few places from his grid position, fourth for him. Mark Breslin fifth, Paul Legali sixth, Joachim Stensnes in seventh, Bart Zernkin eighth, Manos Papanjulu ninth, Jean-Pierre Baer 10th, Edward Rocket, great overtakes from him towards the end of the race, 11th place for him.
Back where I qualified.
Steve Kenwood. And unfortunately, the server's rolled over, and I'm not going to get to call out the rest of the standings. Some great action there throughout the race, guys. I do hope you have had a lot of fun. A little bit of contact we saw, none of it intentional, all of it within the realms of good racing as best as people's abilities. Have you enjoyed it, guys?
Yay.
Oh,
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
Of
course, if you really work at it, you can always make it look unintentional.
Yes, that's it. You can make it look unintentional, indeed.
That's the art of it.
That's the skill indeed. Yes, that has been an exciting event. Quick thank you, we've already mentioned it, but quick thank you to Craig for suggesting the combination. It really was a good one. Guys, we're going to finish the stream, but in a moment I will be asking you for next week's recommendations. If any of you have got a track you'd like to race the FVs on, then have it ready to hand.
Spielberg.
Round off the stream. Not yet, guys. You're premature, Craig. Premature. Is that a regular problem for you, Craig? Oh, no, let's not go there. 29 million viewers. 29 million viewers watching the end of this race. Joseph, thank you very much for being in the commentary booth with me. Have you enjoyed the event?
Oh, very much. Probably one of the best races I've seen.
Indeed, I think I don't think we can end the stream on a better sentiment than that one. Thank you very much, viewers, for watching. Drivers, say good night.
Night. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Good night, and we'll hopefully see you next week for, if I'm not working, we'll be streaming again.
Bye. Bye. Good night.
Bye.